Well, if you're here for the very first time, here at Trinity, before the sermon, we have what's called a Worldview segment. And you might ask, what's a Worldview segment and why do you have it? Here at Trinity, we believe we're a spiritual intersection where moral, cultural, social, and political issues collide with biblical truth. And so we base what we're about to do on an Old Testament verse of Scripture, 1 Chronicles 12:32. It says, the sons of Issachar understood the times in which they lived, and they knew what they should do. We want believers here at Trinity to be empowered, to know, to be informed, to know how to pray so they can be empowered to act. So it's a matter of information that can lead to action on our part as followers of Jesus. In the Gospels, Jesus called Satan the father of lies. He is a father, and he's the father of lies. And he's lying to an entire generation. Over the last 19 years, according to the Cultural Currents Institute, since 2004, this one question has soared on the search engine Google 1,300% over the last 19 years. And it's this question: am I gay? Matter of fact, what they've discovered is in the United States of America, Utah leads the country in searches for am I gay? Am I lesbian? Am I trans? Iowa, Indiana, West Virginia, New Hampshire followed Utah in searches for am I gay, while Connecticut, Kentucky, Washington, and Colorado followed it for searches for am I lesbian. What is happening in our culture today? This entire month, major corporations, educational institutions, entertainment industry, the sports industry, even churches are celebrating Pride Month. In our country, we're dedicating an entire month to celebrate an alternative lifestyle. Veterans only get one day out of the year, but we're dedicating an entire month. What is happening in our society? A recent report by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, they've declared that 1 out of 4 school-age students identify now with the LGBTQ lifestyle. Now, you need to understand, the LGBTQ is a global movement, and it operates as a cult. It has all the signs of a cult, such as recruitment, isolation from family, indoctrination, et cetera, which is why many conservative-led states are pushing legislation protecting children from its radical agenda. If you don't believe that the LGBTQ movement is a cult and that they have a clear agenda, it's not about acceptance, it's about indoctrination, it's about the recruitment of your children. Just this past Friday in New York City, a drag queens LGBTQ activist march through Manhattan's Tompkins Square Park on Friday, part of the weekend Pride celebrations. Some were heard chanting, "We're here, we're queer, and we're coming for your children." They are not hiding their agenda, which is why 490 bills have been submitted to state houses trying to curtail the LGBTQ agenda. And in at least 45 states here in the United States of America, according to the American Civil Liberties Union, 57 of these laws have already been passed and become law because parents need protection so that their kids are not recruited in public schools today. Now here's the gospel side of it. Living openly within the LGBTQ lifestyle is clearly contrary to Imago Dei, which means image of God, and how you were created in the image and likeness of God. It is also inconsistent with clear biblical standards, as many other sins are, and it is in direct violation of God's commands. Now, God is love, and God so loved the world and all the sinful people like us struggling in the world that he sent his only begotten Son, that whosoever would believe in him would not perish but have everlasting life. That's the good news. And God did not send his Son into the world to condemn sinners, but that sinners through Christ might be saved. But God doesn't save us in our sin. God saves us from our sin. God comes into our lives and he wants us to admit our sin, to confess our sin, And then he's faithful and just to forgive us and to cleanse us from all unrighteousness and set us on a new path, living a life that honors him. Now listen, there is a clear difference living a gay lifestyle and having a same-sex attraction. Did you know there are many God-fearing Christians who love Jesus who struggle with same-sex attraction? That doesn't make you different, that makes you human. Whatever our sin is, whatever we struggle with, that is a sign that we live in a fallen world, and the fault line of sin runs through all of us, and we're all flawed human beings. But we make no excuses for our sin, whatever our proclivity may be. But you could be a Christian struggling with same-sex temptation. That does not make you a homosexual. That makes you human. And what we do with our temptations, what we do as humans, as Christians, with our urges, is we lay them at the feet of Jesus. We place them on the altar, and we ask God by his grace and by his mercy to give us strength so that we could continue to say yes to God's plan and God's purpose for our life and no to the world, the flesh, and the devil.